Friends, in this video for iThought Wealth, I'm going to talk to you on the topic listing trade the scarcity games. Clearly, IPOs are seeing traction like never before. We are seeing a historic trend in IPOs right now. We are seeing this trend extend even to companies which are not making profits now and are quite unlikely to make profits in the foreseeable future. Now come to think of it, if I show you a listed company which is losing money for 4 years, would you put your money into that company? The answer is most people would like to avoid that company. So our psychology in approaching a listed company for investment is much different from the psychology with which we approach an IPO. So the psychology with which we approach a listed company for investment is vastly different from the psychology with which we approach an IPO. So when it comes to an IPO, we feel that a company that has been making losses for a long time is still okay. Why do we say that? Or why do we think like that? I believe that a lot of this comes from how IPOs have been structured. First, a very small portion of the IPO comes to the retail investor. The portion that comes to the HNI is just a little bit more than the portion that comes to the retail investor. This is true of every loss-making company's IPO. Now, most of the shares in an IPO goes to those who are qualified institutional buyers. It goes to the mutual funds and people who are qualified to participate in these issues. Naturally, the shares available for investment by retail participants is very low. On the other hand, the number of aspirant participants, people who want to participate in an IPO, has increased exponentially because of the UPI enabled IPO process. So on the one side, we have created a revolutionary way in which people can participate. On the other side, the entry door is closed or just open for a few people to get in. It is this stampede-like structure which is causing so much of speculation in IPOs. To make matters worse, in the HNI segment, people can borrow and invest in an IPO. So a lot of people are prone to thinking that I have this money idle in my bank. My banker is or NBFC is willing to give me a lot of money if I put this money into the IPO. So let me increase the size of my application by many times more so that I get a decent allotment. So they are gambling all their liquidity, borrowing on that liquidity and applying in an IPO. So we are seeing the HNI segment ballooning in subscription. When the HNI segment balloons in subscription, that seems to make the retail investor take it as validation, and you see there also that there is a lot of euphoria getting built in. Remember one thing, all this is predominantly speculative and less investment oriented. Interestingly, this is also happening in good companies which are making profits. But where the risks are higher is in loss-making companies that are making losses and will continue to make losses in the foreseeable future. An IPO itself is a culmination of a lot of smart investment banking. So when you buy into such an issue, you must buy on the merit of the business justifying whatever the investment banking has projected to us, directly and indirectly. But what we are buying into is the confidence that more investment banking can be done if money is needed by the business to fund its losses, that the money that has been raised through this smart investment banking will last for a very, very long time, and that the company could at any time tap the market to raise capital. Now all these expectations are getting factored into both the oversubscription and the listing speculation. Clearly, the optimism is running slightly ahead. Meanwhile, we have seen the regulators put a cap on lending to IPOs. So, what we are seeing today won't happen after 1/4 of next year. I don't see the sanctity of 1/4 as a date. It could have been just today or yesterday, but for some reason best known to them, they have given more time for this to continue. Naturally, when borrowed investing in IPO comes down, this hysteria will subside a bit. Also, I believe that there is a need to open up more of IPO subscriptions to retail investors and direct participants and those who put in their own money and not somebody else's money. And this rationing of quotas in an IPO is actually not working in the interest of retail investors, because those who don't get applications allotted in an IPO are going and buying the same stocks at twice the valuation on listing. So, they are not getting really protected, but they are exposing themselves to greater risks. So, you might as well allow the IPO portions for retail to be opened up more, and more people must be allowed to participate. And these scarcity games that are being played on the retail investor must end as soon as possible, so that the investor is given a wider field, more opportunity and more fair price discovery. So, that in my opinion is the urgent need of the hour. This lottery based speculation has to end, and it has to be replaced by a more open, inclusive and transparent IPO process. That's what we need, and I hope we get that. Thank you very much for watching this video. Do stay the course with us. Thank you.